My career sucks.
Sex just isn't the same.
What's my purpose?
Where did this fat come from?
My relationship is killing me.
I'll never be happy.
My debt is piling up. I'll never find love. Why can't I be like other gay guys? Hey guys, it's time to get a grip, stop whining, make a bold move, and do something amazing with your 40-plus gay life. Let's get to the show with your Tell It Like It Is host, Rick Clemons, who does his best to never act like a dick or a diva unless you act like one first.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 40 Plus Gay Man Gay Talk, and we are going to be talking about those things you dream about, you wish you had in your world that you should be doing. I'm not talking about dick and, ass guys. We could talk about that on another show, but those things that move you forward, that make you come alive, that make you go, man, I just want to be doing something that's my own on my purpose. And I can tell you that both myself and my guest have been there. We're both sitting in those worlds currently. We have built our businesses. We've watched them be sucky. We've also watched them be really amazing. And what I love about this guest is he's going to give you some insights to what he's done, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and talk about his beautiful Marketing Maven. That's what it's called, the Marketing Maven, his business. His name is Joseph Federico. He is based in the East Coast in the Jersey area. He's worked with lots of different agencies and stuff. And I'm just going to invite you guys, if you've ever thought about starting your own thing, to lean in, listen in, and I hope Joseph and I are going to give you some good insights on where we're going, because we've both done it. So welcome, my friend from the East Coast, to the West Coast podcast here. Glad to have you here, bud.
Thank you so much. You made me sound really impressive. Thank you.
Well, I work really hard on that, because I don't read these things until the morning, it's happening. I'm like, what? How can I just ad-lib this stuff?
I'm like, wow, is he talking about me?
Yes, I am talking about you. I could have thrown in he's cute and got a great look on and all that stuff for those of you watching on YouTube, but
both true.
He'll take that. I take that too. It was so funny the other day I said something like that on the podcast, and the guy's like, well, you're a hot bear daddy. I'm like, okay, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But I love this, that I kind of knew before we got in here that you and I had a lot of stuff in common. And now that we chatted a little bit, there's a ton of stuff. Just being in marketing, and branding, all that sort of stuff. Having worked in hospitality, we didn't talk on that, but I was in hospitality for years and then said, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so over hospitality. I mean, I love the hospitality world, but I can't do it. The work
it's a lot.
It's intense, to say the least. So let's talk about that, the moment, or the moments that built up to where you realize I just got to go do my own thing. Because many guys listening are sitting in that space, and it's tough. Let's be honest. It's tough to I'm going to walk away and go do this. What was it like as you started stepping towards that, Joseph?
A lot more people told me not to do so. They tried to coerce me to stay in the corporate world. They were not encouraging. They made me feel bad about what I was doing.
Right.
And also family members included, not my friends so much. They have always been supportive, and my partner. But friends and family, friends, yes. Family, not so much. Corporate world, not so much. They wanted me to just play the game. And I personally felt browbeaten into staying where I was in quiet and not out and proud and not creative. And I said, well, if I'm making, a good earning and I'm working my way up the corporate ladder and I'm, I have great benefits, then maybe I shouldn't be creative. Maybe I shouldn't do what I'm doing. Right. And it came to a head really, really quickly. Going on 2 years. This August is when I've been officially on my own 100%, 2 years now.
That's awesome.
And I don't regret any of it, but I do wish that I had spoken up sooner to defend myself and taken that leap a little bit sooner than I did. Yeah.
I think I sat in that space, I don't know, kind of going back to when I took not my last job, but made the transition.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was in my 30s at the time, and the company I worked with was a small family-owned company, and I was wearing many hats, and I liked it, but there were moments I'm like, man, this just isn't cutting it.
Mm-hmm.
I was also close to the journey of I'm going to come out of the closet probably, but at what point I didn't know for sure. I knew it was
wow. Yeah.
And then because of that company, I got into the vendor side of hospitality in the software industry.
Mhm.
And so I was working for a large software company. Like we were, depending on how we pitched it, and then I worked really quickly up to vice president of marketing for that company.
Sure.
We were number one, number two, number three. We're always playing in that sphere. So we were very well known across the globe. Loved the job, loved all the privilege because, you know, I was jetting all over the globe, first class everywhere we went, all that good stuff. And then I started burning out. And I'm like, and then I had my first child, and I'm like, I'm not even home. And then number two came along. I'm like, I can't do this again. I can't be all over the globe. But I also was like, and guess what, bitch? I'm coming out of the closet. So
on top of everything else, because you
on
had nothing
top of
else going on at
everything
the
else.
time.
So of course, you know, these dreams of, oh, go do my own thing kept getting put on the shelf, put on the shelf, put on the shelf because okay, I had to make money, you know, and especially once I went through the divorce and had child support and alimony. I'm like, I gotta get a job, gotta get a job.
Down. Yeah.
And it's so interesting how many of us get caught in that thing of, even though other people are like, go do it, it'd be cool for you to do your thing. We have to be realists, right? Money does play a factor. But man, that passion, it just doesn't go away if you know it's in you, right? And I'm assuming that was part of what was going on for you, is deep inside, this passion was just like burning.
It was burning. I'm burning bright and actually hurting. I'm hurting inside. As strange as that may sound, looking back on all those experiences I had gone through, and I had risen like the phoenix, you know, all time and again from the ashes. Again, my only regret is I wish I had listened to my intuition and myself a little bit sooner to take the leap, because I don't regret working for myself. I love meeting people. I love helping the gay community. I love helping myself and learning along the way, because I personally never stopped learning about metrics, marketing, PR, event management, all the new tools and tricks, because that's what keeps me excited about my spark.
Yeah.
So
let's talk a little bit about that intuitive voice. I'd love to know, what was that intuitive voice saying to you that you just kept kind of going, yes, but what was something that voice kept telling you?
I was just burnt out, you know, and the creative childlike version of me that I had suppressed all those years was just trying to escape and get out. And it had originally actually started in the world of publishing, where I kind of did freelance for myself here and there throughout the years, because I had a background in publishing and in that world. And I thought that's where I would wind up after I had graduated college, because I had worked my first jobs were at M. Evans Inc. Publishing in Manhattan in 2005 and 6, which was amazing. And I thought I was on top of the world, earning like $300 a week, you know, before taxes, which is nothing.
Right.
And
especially
also
in Manhattan, it's nothing.
But I had not really had a full-time, you know, job or experience in the world of where I thought I wanted to go up to that point. And then I worked at MSNBC, and I worked in the booking department, and I met all these people, and I was calling Afghanistan and doing pre-show, but I also wasn't really out either at the time. So there was a lot going on, but creatively I said, I'm trying to find my footing, you know. Is hard news for me, is publishing for me? And turns out those, you know, neither of those things were for me. And then I got into the marketing, and I was in this business plan department, and I had unfortunately turned a blind eye, and I was working for some convicted felons. That's a whole different story, but anything for the job.
There's a whole podcast in of itself, it sounds like, right there. So,
and I'm like, oh, but you need the money, and the check was good, and you know, you're in the world of marketing. And I said, well, maybe this will be a stepping stone. And that's when the voice inside me got louder and louder until I finally made the leap, about 10, 11 years after that. Yeah.
So interesting, because I technically left. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I technically left like hospitality, front office, front of the house, all that sort of stuff back in 2000, probably 1991. Because when we moved to California, I left the front of the house stuff. And so 91, I'm like, okay, I'm working for this small company doing sales. It was such a weird job, Joseph. It was like I'm doing event sales. So like it was a houseboat company. So we were doing all the boat shows. We were doing like the fairs and all that sort of stuff. So I was front of the house with my sales team selling houseboat vacations, right? But then on the flip side, I was the risk management and workers' comp guy. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to sell you a houseboat trip, but if you fuck up and get hurt, I'm going to defend us against you because you did something stupid off the boat. You know, it just, the two things didn't go together. And that's when I was like, and then on top of that, I get pulled in when we bought when we were upgrading our reservation system to lead that project. I'm like, okay, none of these things really, well, reservations and sales kind of go together.
Sure.
And I was like, this is freaking ridiculous. I can't be the every hat guy, right? But I had a young family at the time, and we were on baby number 2, and or we were just no, we didn't have baby number 2. We just had baby number 1, and because of that, the guy that was the trainer for the software company is like, hey, you looking for a job? I'm like, no. So there's the intuitive thing, right? It's like, no, I have to do this thing. I have to make this income because I'm a father, a husband, and, all this, right? Well, he didn't listen to me, because the next thing I do, I get a call from the director of marketing at the software company saying, hey, I heard you're looking for a job. I'm like, no, I'm not. And she goes, you should meet
Not so much.
Yeah, she goes, you should meet me. I'm like, I don't know anything about software. That's okay. We heard you were good. You're front of the house. You've been back of the house. So I did. I went and did it. And then when they showed me what they were going to pay me, I'm like, well, this is double what I'm making. So, okay. Now the intuitive voice, like, well, I guess I'm being told to shut the fuck up. I'm like, yep, money talks.
Money certainly talks.
And then when that thing took off and I rose really quickly, and we got acquired, and I was part of the acquisition team and all that sort of stuff, everything was cool until, like I started burning out. I'm like, this is not what I planned. And I love what you said about that intuitive, I've got to do something different, because that was the first time, as we went through the first acquisition, that was my first time being exposed to an executive coach. And I watched her in the boardroom with all of us in the C-suite, as we knew we were being acquired, and we were orchestrating the whole thing. In fact, I was the one who hired her. And I thought, that's what I want to be doing. I love what she's doing. I see what she's doing, all this. And that's when that intuitive voice inside said, bitch, I'm not letting you go on this one. And it took from 1996 until 2006 of me hearing that voice. So in 2006, when I got laid off from the job after that one, that's when I said, I can't do this anymore. I just
not worth it anymore. No. It's interesting you had said that too, reminding me of a few other stepping stones along the way that I thought would be a long-term, position or role, and still staying in the corporate world a little bit longer than I should have, or than I thought I had wanted to at the time. So COVID hit. I had left again. That intuitive, voice really gets louder when things start crumbling around you. And as I'm sure you can relate to, and hopefully, people on that are listening can relate to and understand, that there is a process that you just can't ignore these voices within yourself. But I had left a pretty interesting job right as COVID was hitting, created their podcast, created their social media marketing, created their branding. So COVID had hit. I was unemployed for maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 weeks ish. Had applied for another position, beat out 143 other people nationally for the role of like marketing manager.
Yep.
Was with them for about a year, traveled to Ohio, did all their classes and learned about their weight loss academies and, so forth and so on. That came crumbling down. And I said, okay, this keeps happening. I need something steady, and I need to either rely on myself or just keep on keeping on. And the latter was not working out the way I had thought it would, or had hoped it would, because I wasn't ready to let the the chute from underneath me just opened up and free fall for a while, and I wasn't ready to do that. So then I got a job with a swim school, part-time, freelance, like 1099,
Right.
in Florida. And I got them on television shows. I had worked on their social media marketing. I was working on all the things I knew I was really good at. And there were too many cooks in the kitchen, and I had faced that many times before as well, where things just get jumbled. And I also felt like I was being bullied. And I finally had the balls to call out the BS. And that's where I got into trouble, because I was holding my ground.
Yep.
Sticking to my guns, being more creative than they wanted me to be. And that's where the voices we keep talking about got louder and louder and louder. And I said, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? So yeah.
Well, but you said it. We have to call ourselves out on our own bullshit, right? Because we hear this stuff, right? And guys listening, it can be about anything. It can be about dating. It can be about falling in love. It can be about losing weight and your health and your finances, whatever it is. These voices of bullshit we keep negotiating with, like, well, okay, in a few years. In fact, I remember when I first walked into that one boardroom with the executive coach, and I sat in that one time with her, and I'm like, wow, she's amazing. Now, I did end up hiring her. She did become my coach for a bit when things transitioned.
Sure.
But I remember sitting there going, this is really cool. And the first thing that came in my mind was, yes, but you've got a wife, you've got a kid, you can't make this crazy change right now. Right? I was negotiating with my own best destiny at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And suddenly we find ourselves, we're not living like we want to live. And I think what you just shared is a perfect example of that. Like, here's what was happening for Joseph.
It was one, almost like a failed relationship after another. And I was just trying to grasp at straws. Yeah. So finally, after the swim school, I said, this is clearly not working. I deserve more money. I deserve to be more creative. I deserve to have a queer voice in what I'm doing to reach a wider audience. And I'm underserving myself.
Yep.
So I tried to work with a few recruiters, and I would have paid, right, for somebody to get me a job back into corporate. I was willing to suppress, myself one more time.
I love that, because that's exactly what it is. We suppress ourselves.
Exactly. Thank you. And I was having an inner battle with myself. I said, well, let's just give it one more, the old college try to get back in corporate. And I spoke with a recruiter who finally told me the truth. He said, I'm not going to charge you for this conversation. I see your resume. I see your LinkedIn. Your salary requirements are perfect. You have a great history and background, and you have a, very extensive, work history.
Right.
He literally said to me, there's nothing for you. We don't have anything for you in the industry, but nobody is going to hire you. Oh my gosh. You have to go it alone.
Wow.
And that scared me, but it inspired me, because it lit a fire under my ass, where I finally took the leap 10, 15, 20 years later, having worked in publishing and, corporate and Verizon and startups and everything in between, up until the really terrible swim school I had worked for that wasn't looking for creative minds, or queer voices for that matter. And I said, okay, the universe is quite literally kicking me in the ass and saying, you got a free fall for a little bit, this is like make it or break it.
Right.
And I wound up obviously not only surviving, but thriving 2 years later. So,
but I think those are the moments. Okay. So, I got laid off in 2006, went through the merger back in 1999, 2000. I
remember those mergers. Yeah.
And I was cool with the merger, because I'm like, I'm going to walk. I mean, there was going to be duplicates. There was going to be 2 vice president of marketing. There was duplicates all over the place. And they said, do you get first right of refusal? And by that time, Joseph, I was like, I think I'm kind of done with the hospitality industry in general.
I think I'm kind of done.
Yeah, I'm just kind of done.
Take a fork in me.
And I said, no, I'm cool. So I took my little golden parachute. It wasn't that little. I mean, it was enough to go for a good year. And when the other job showed up, I was like, I don't know. Working for a startup could be kind of cool. And it was until it wasn't. And then when that hit in 2006, it was my reckoning. It was like, are you going to go do this again? Or are you going to figure it out? And I was very lucky that I was very connected in the industry. But 9/11 hit. And I remember that whole thing happening. So that was before 2006. But I remember when I was walking trade show floors in New York City when there was nobody in the city, all that sort of stuff. And I thought, I don't want to go do this again. I need to either decide I'm going to be employed or I'm going to go do my own thing. And because of the connections I had in 2006, I got really lucky and I worked, got a position of what would be considered today like a fractional chief marketing officer. And I did that for a couple of years. I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. I got my freedom. I'm working from home, which I was already working from. I was working from home before remote work was really cool. I mean, I was doing this in 2002. Okay. And that was my reckoning moment where I'm like, do I really want to go back in the office? When I got this last job that just ended, which I was with for 7 years, there was no having to go to be in an office. I was already in the remote workspace. I'm one of those that like nothing can distract me when I work from home. Well, okay, I'll take that back. Hot joggers walking by, going by outside my window, that can distract
Absolutely.
me.
Good distractions.
Yeah, good distractions there. But I remember going, okay, if I'm going to go back to work again, there's got to be something with purpose behind it. There's got to be something that I can really see myself doing. And I think this is the decision process most of us need to allow ourselves to go through.
It's hard.
But it's very hard. And most of us don't. We're like the money, the benefits, the security. Now, I'm going to confess that my husband has a very, very solid job that not enables me to go, I can just eat bonbons and look at hot joggers. No, we're not there. But the healthcare and all that is a very big bonus. So that's a piece of the pie that works.
Sure.
It actually motivates me to go. So again, guys, you're listening to this, and by the time this airs, I will probably, we'll see. We'll see if I'm still unemployed when this airs. But I've decided to do my own thing again, like full tilt, in we go. But that's the big dive into the pool. And as you know, Joseph, that is a big freaking dive to go take into the pool. Like I'm going to be the marketing person. I'm going to be the CEO, all of this.
The salesperson. I'm going to be the creative director. I'm going to be the publicist. I'm going to be the event marketing manager. I'm going to be the event manager, the SMS manager.
All of it. And guys, here's
you don't
the
have
thing.
a choice. You don't have a choice.
Well, you don't have a choice, but I don't want that to scare anybody who's listening either, because guess what?
No.
On the other side of that is full freedom. I work whenever I want to work. I work wherever I want to work. I choose who I work with every day.
Sure.
I mean, just ask Joseph. He had to go through a rigorous, interview process to get on the podcast. I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. But it's one of those things where you do have all this beautiful freedom.
Yeah.
You get to create your own destiny in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's something you've learned the most out of sitting in that space of the freedom that has changed you? I'm going to sound like we changed you for the better. What has changed you for the better, Joseph, because of being in this space?
Learning to sit in my own discomfort and allowing that to remotivate me to move forward. I think that's what changed me and continues to do so for the better, for the best, is I only have to rely on myself. I'm forced to rely on myself. No employees yet. I have a lot of, clients and customers across the nation that depend on me for their own bread and butter as well. To bring home the bacon, to rebrand, to allow, especially queer men, to have a voice. And that's another part of the puzzle that allows me to stay on top of things, to approach burnout, but draw the boundaries where I have to, so forth and so on. Yeah.
So you just brought it up, so I knew it's going to be part of our conversation. So you just said the queer voice in business. What do you feel like most is difficult for a lot of gay men when they go, okay, I'm going to have my own business. I'm going to go here. I've been a high flying marketing branding guy like you and I have. Cool. I know my stuff inside out.
Yeah.
But where does the gay voice play into this from your perspective? And does it have to? Because I have
it absolutely has to. Only because I had been through. So I'm a big supporter of mental health, therapy. I had been there myself. I think most of us have, and I think it should be for everyone, not just gay men.
Yep.
But gay men in particular, because there's so much baggage and trauma, internalized homophobia, that certain play into the gay voice or the evolution of that. At least in my opinion, my experience.
Yep.
So my therapist turned queer business coach had forced me to whittle down my services. If you're for everyone, you're for no one, right? And I said, okay, well, how am I going to whittle this down? The queer voice has to play into what I'm going to be offering. How I can work through, my own insecurities, trauma, everything I had just discussed or, brought up. How am I going to package that up into now helping others? Yep. So the queer voice is very specific. It comes with a lot of baggage and trauma. And I've been finding out as I'm whittling down my own services, especially within the last 3 or 4 weeks, because of the conversations I'm finding myself a part of on LinkedIn and a TikTok and Instagram are my main platforms where I find people to connect with, or people that are actually having these conversations or, or talking back to me, or they're intriguing.
Yep.
That the gay men are standing in their own way. The fear is stopping them from taking that leap of faith, from taking that parachute and free falling for a little while.
Yes.
And they're stopping themselves from going forward, from selling their own books, starting their own businesses, from creating their own or starting their own salons, from the partnerships. And it reverts back to other things that are way less important than living your truth.
Yep. But it's so interesting. And guys, I'm going to encourage you to maybe play back what Joseph just said, like stop the podcast, rewind for the, couple of minutes and come back and listen to everything he just said, because what he just did was invited you to come out of the closet in a different way. Because we're holding ourselves again. Yes. But so much of what he just said, if you really take it and think through it, it's the same stuff we went through coming out of the closet about our sexuality. We held back. We couldn't see ourselves being gay. We wanted to do this thing, but we were afraid of what's going to happen or what people are going to think and what people are going to say. And I have advocated this so many times, Joseph, throughout this career of now being a podcast host and a coach and everything. Like, gay men, if you lean into, and I realize for many of us, the coming out experience could have been traumatic, okay? But if you lean into what you went through to get out that door and learn from the trauma and the holding back and everything, you can actually apply it to, okay, I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm not going to listen to the crazy voices that tell me you're insane. I'm going to be realistic. This is going to take some time, but I'm going to find my thing, kind of like you're going to find your guy. If you really want to find your guy, you can find your guy. All these things play very similar roles. But the one thing we tend to forget is we've done one of the hardest freaking things you ever have to do, which is come out and say, I'm gay, and move forward and live your life on your terms. It's the same thing about I'm done sitting in the corner office. That was a biggie for me when I'm like, by the time I decided to do my thing, I wasn't a corner office guy, okay? But in the corner office, when the acquisition was happening, there was a big switcheroo. Not only was I coming out of the closet, I'm like, I do not enjoy being Mr. Corner Office guy anymore. And that was a huge thing to have to admit to myself.
That was a big thing for me too. When I had been booted out of corporate because of the reorgs and we were being acquired and there was no money coming in for the smaller businesses within the Verizon enterprise, space, the C-suite, the corporate bullshit, essentially. I will tell you that when they wanted me back, they had lied to me to basically tell themselves that I was a shoo-in, number one. The salary increase would have been over 6 figures.
Wow.
The benefits would have been absolutely phenomenal. And I walked away from that. That was another part of my journey. It was another stepping stone in which I had looked back and said, did I really walk away from so much money and so many protections? But I would have been, as you had said, the corner office guy. I would have been the guy that would have had to work not just 60 hours a week, but probably 80, 90 hours a week
Yep.
in the corporate environment,
Mhm.
suppressing my queer voice, which I had just said is extremely important, suppressing my creativity, and still not being allowed to work for myself and see what that would have looked like long term.
I feel like that suppressing the voice thing is so huge, because we're also suppressing the voice that says, I really want to do something with purpose. I really want to do something that brings me full joy.
Yeah.
I really want to do something. I mean, if honestly, and I'm at the crossroads, I loved what I was doing. I loved the job I was in. I was, senior manager of coaching and performance. I had 5 team members that I was leading. I loved the business we were in. I loved working with speakers. I loved every bit of it. And I loved the freedom I had because I could do my side hustle business on the side, provided it wasn't really conflicting with me getting my work done.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the perfect thing, a solid, steady income, add on the extra. I was really in a great space.
Yeah, me too.
And when the rug got yanked out, I was like, but again, I'm done. If I'm going to work 60 to 70 hours a week, which was kind of what I was doing, because I do my full-time gig and then I do everything, which I love doing everything else. I love the podcast. I love coaching my guys on the side, all that stuff. But I made the decision. And even though I am looking for, maybe there's a gig. I can't move. Okay. We're not moving because my husband has the solid thing. So we're here.
Sure.
So my only option is remote stuff. If I could find the right remote thing again, absolutely, I'd jump into it, as long as I can keep doing what I do. But I made this crucial decision, Joseph, and for everybody listening, to listen to me, my intuition, my heart, what my soul is telling me to do. Because when I do that, I thrive. When I ignore it, I'm miserable.
It's going to keep calling. It's going to keep calling.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's going to keep calling, and it's going to keep pushing you forward. You talked about, that was that instigating moment. Like, I knew I had to go do this. I'm living and breathing that moment right now. I've got a book that's potentially going to go to a publisher, 1 or 2 publishers, potentially. The podcast is doing really well. The business is starting to pick up. I'm creating a side hustle business to serve the community that I used to serve, doing what I love doing. I love doing stagecraft stuff. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not going to help you build your, excuse my French. I'm not going to build your fucking business. I want you to get really good on stage. That's what I want you to do. Love that stuff. And it's going to be a simple thing. And when I even say it, like, I just got little goosebumps talking about it. I'm like, okay, Rick, if that's the energy you allow to keep pulling you forward, you're going to be not just fine, you're going to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hope guys that are listening to this, I hope you've heard Joseph and I both say, this isn't a cakewalk. Okay. This isn't like, oh yeah, every day, but there is a cakewalk to it. The beauty is, once you lean in, okay, we really lean into the grit and everything, resilience you're going to have, there's just a beautiful, I don't know, every day I wake up happier than I ever have, just because, okay, I get to go do this, and I get to go do this, and I get to go. And yes, there are days that are grinds, no doubt.
Oh, so some days are absolute shit. Some days
are. I was just going to ask you, what do you do on those days when it's just like, it's the shits, it's the grind? What do you do to keep yourself moving forward, Joseph?
I have learned, kicking and screaming, Rick, to take a step back. If I continue to hit roadblocks, right? Mm-hmm. Or a client is not paying on time, or I'm a little bit behind on a project, right, or I have maybe 5 consults in one day and they went to absolute shit. And that has happened.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I take a step back. I say, like that clip that went around a few years ago on TikTok and Instagram, am I the problem? I try to reassess.
Yep.
I take those days to have my favorite sandwich, watch some Growing Pains is my comfort show on online, and I then get back to lists and I take a step back. What have I learned today? What is it calling out in my process? Where is the chink in the system, right? Where is the potential problem?
Yep.
How can I reassess? And then I do some social media that I know I'm good at to reboost my, my awareness, my creativity, knowing that I'm really good at something, to reprove to myself that I can do what I set out to do.
Yep.
I take a look at the imposter syndrome in the mirror and I say, God damn it, you're a self-made man. You can do this. And then I take a step back with my partner, go out to dinner or relax, and then I start again the next day.
Yep.
Even the shit days are a process. They have to be.
And the thing
you
is,
can't just continue to face burnout and go forward and say, well, let's just keep going, because nothing's going to get done.
Nope. And the thing is I don't care if you're recently laid off like me and you're like, this sucks looking for work. Yeah, it does. It really does. But if you give yourself permission to do something slightly different. So here's one little insight, guys. As soon as we wrap up recording this podcast, normally I'd go head over to the pool and go swim laps. But that's the routine. That's the routine. Today, I'm not doing that. Today, I'm going to get on my cycling gear and I'm going to go take a bike ride to break the monotony. Whatever. And I can tell you, running the business, there are days I'm like, okay, I got to go do something different. One day a week, I give myself the privilege of we live right on the coast of California. I go down to the beach. I sit in a coffee house that overlooks the ocean and I work there the entire day. Because it's the break. It's the different thing. And I find different ways. And as a business owner, and again, guys, if you're contemplating any of this, my advice to really get your business going, there's a lot of things, but I'm going to say, give yourself a break and lower your expectations, how quickly it's going to happen. Okay. Number one. Doesn't mean don't drive for it. Doesn't mean go, but don't set the expectations so unrealistically that you can't meet them. Number two, find ways to get out of routines. Whatever the routines are. Doesn't mean stop going to the gym, but if you go to the gym first thing in the morning, maybe one day a week, go in the middle of the day, because you're going to break the routine of I'm working, I'm trying to build this business. I'm working, I'm trying to build this business.
Yeah.
And find somebody, a coach or colleagues, like, like a Joseph and Rick relationship where you're like, hey, how's it going in your business, man? In fact, isn't that one of the questions I asked you before we came on the air? I did say
it was,
right?
That's the first thing you asked me when we hopped on.
I just didn't want to go, okay, well, let's hop on the podcast and let's get rolling. No, because business owner to business owner, I want to know. Not that I would reveal.
We need that support system, especially in the career community, but it's hard too. It's hard to hold the mirror up sometimes, Rick.
Yeah.
As a queer man, but a business owner, and report back on the truth. Yes. With another fellow queer business owner, because you're like, how are they going to respond, or how am I going to respond to the question? Yep. Do I tell the truth and say everything's going hunky-dory, or do I, just kind of dig right in? And we dug right in. So I appreciate that.
I recently had a conversation with another person in personal development in the queer community. And on the surface, everything was like looking like, wow, he's just knocking it dead. And he is doing very well. We are good friends. And I said, so how's everything? He goes, honestly, it's harder this year than it's ever been. It's harder this year than it's ever been. And I thought, yeah, I get it, man. People are holding on to their money a little bit more. They want to make these decisions, but they're not doing it. So guys, whatever it is, have your community, your people that you can lean into. Obviously, I'm not going to go to Joseph all the time like, hey, girl, today sucks. Call in tomorrow. Hey, girl, today sucks. Hey, girl, today sucks. No, you want to come with, hey, what's going on for you? All these different things. But I hope the message that many of you guys might be taking away is, okay, listen to your voice and act on it. Number one. Number two, give yourself plenty of room to go. It's going to take a bit. Whatever it is that you're creating, it's going to take a bit for it to take off. And number three, surround yourself with other like-type people. To me, those are some of the things.
Yeah.
Any other last-minute things you want to say? And I want to talk a little bit about how you work with our queer community as well, Joseph. But any other stuff?
So the first answer, or the first answer to that first question, is I just want to say that I really wish that as queer men, we try to mend this epidemic of staying in our own way, of not working for the man, quote unquote, necessarily, but taking the leap of faith, understanding that, as you had said, it will take work. It's a lot of dedication, but it is worth it in the long run, long term. And just get out of your own way. If you don't have the finances, it costs nothing to start a Facebook group or a Facebook page or a LinkedIn profile, or to write an article, or to reach out and just get the word out at a less costly, way or manner or path. Just start.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing that I want to drive home.
And here's the other thing that I find so interesting, and because you're a social media guy, I was a social media guy when this thing was in, we were still doing social media on stone tablets. But I remember going through my first social media training going, okay, but here's what's interesting. It doesn't take much these days to grab attention.
No.
Because everybody is like,
Nope.
Just give it to me, give it to me. But if you hit the right thing, and I've been playing around with stuff, and it's so interesting to watch, like when I do a reel versus a story, suddenly, man, the reels get so much more attention than just a simple story.
Mm-hmm.
As you just said, it takes nothing to go write a simple post on LinkedIn. Yeah, it takes some time, but a lot of times I just go riff. On something I'm noticing. And I think this is the beauty. So if somebody wanted to work with you and, they're like, okay, I'm making this decision, talk about the different ways you like, what do you do for people? It's not just marketing and branding. It's more than that, correct?
It's more than that. It is allowing you the freedom to be more of yourself as you're starting a business or you're rebranding yourself. And I, yes, do all the social media, the creative, the event management, again, the SMS, the email marketing. That's what I thrive on. But what I've really built up for the queer community specifically is the one-on-one coaching. Yep. I am the ear to listen. I am the shoulder to essentially cry on, but then I lift you back up.
Yep.
And I call out those pain points.
Yeah.
And I hit them right at the start,
where they need to be hit.
And we work through those specifically. And that's what makes me different from my competitors. Yeah. Is I'm not just the social media coach. I am the life coach, cheerleader, publicist, all rolled into one that will allow you to feel more comfortable in starting your dream life.
And that all you got to do is start. And for some people, it's like, I got to have it all figured out. No.
It's really that simple. It's really that simple, It's not sharing those static images of your book signing, or, hey, that's not going to work. Mm-mm. That's not going to work. And I had a conversation with a gentleman on LinkedIn. There was a bit of a failed, consult, and that's fine. But I took away some lessons from that very brief 20-minute conversation as well.
Yeah. He
said, "Oh, wow, this is what you do." After we were having that one-on-one quick, conversation, It was like a first date, right? Seeing where the match may lie. And he said, "Oh, so you give people their time back and you actually coach." Because the CEOs and the beginners have to get on camera. COVID completely changed all of that influencer marketing and really flipped it on its head. Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is, don't just think it's this one thing, because you got to go test it. You got to figure it out, see how it lands. I mean, I know Joseph and I could go, because we're both marketing guys, like, oh, no. There's a whole thing to product marketing, figure out where it fits. It's a whole thing. But
Wild West out there.
Yeah, just take a concept. Just take a concept that you have and start dabbling it out there and see how it lands, see what it does.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph, I'm so happy that we got connected. What's the best way for people to contact you if they wanted to contact you?
Yeah, really, truly, just my main platform is Instagram, Joseph A. Federico. Or if you're listening to this anytime, I'm going to offer a discount on your first month of services with a free consultation. Just shoot me a text on my business phone, 973-289-3517. Let's connect. I'm a real person.
He is a real person.
I don't have any secrets. Yeah. Or they can actually check me out online. I have a few marketing books as well.
Yeah.
If they don't want to have a conversation yet, just for a few dollars, invest in yourself, work through the workbook on your own, and then we can have that conversation.
Excellent. And guys,
Yeah,
I know it's scary. Joseph and I, neither one are going to say, oh, no, you should have nothing to be afraid of. It can be scary. It can be daunting, but it can be full of fun, adventure, excitement. The payoffs are amazing. And I'm getting ready to leave on vacation. And actually, this is airing while I'm on vacation. And I get to be in Costa Rica with my family, doing what I love to do, knowing that the money's still coming in. The money is still coming in.
That's exactly it. Even with my,
that's the biggest stuff. So, all right, my friend, my new friend, Joseph, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank
guys,
you so much
for being listeners. I know it's May. We're going to be coming up here. I'm looking ahead to see, okay, well, what's coming up next? Just stay tuned. There's a lot of interesting twists and turns on how you be, and talking about widowhood and finding ways that people survive major things like 9/11. We've got some great guests coming up. And so just keep listening. Thank you for being part of my world. Thanks for being in my world. And if you want to join us, we've got the Facebook group for the podcast. There's actually a group, the community. And also we do our men's chats at the third week of the month on Tuesdays. So join us there. So thanks again, Joseph. So appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
That's a wrap for 40 Plus. Gay men, gay talk, where size doesn't matter. We drop our bullshit, get over our screwed up fears, make bold moves, and live life without apologies. Don't forget to join us on Facebook at 40 Plus, Gay Men, Gay Talk, where the conversations continue.